But, oh, it looks like we're going right in. So let's find out. Tahm, Kench, of course, high contention, and the Gangplank, as you guys mentioned. I'm also personally interested. Does TSM once again pick a composition that still puts the spotlight solely on Doublelift, and everyone else is kind of there more or less to help him out?
I think it was a pivot. The more I replay Champ Select in my mind, it's like, yeah, like the Tahm Kench was first picked because they knew they could run a composition that would work here, right? The way you do picks and bans is you get the high priority stuff, and you say, okay, we got these ones. Here's the comps that work with these high priority champions contested picks.
Okay.
We got Tahm Kench, we can run a Jinx comp with Anivia now.
Right.
We didn't get Tahm Kench, we're running a different composition.
Yep.
If you're doing it right, it's how you play it.
Yeah, you branch out.
I'm actually surprised to see the Lissandra pick. I'm not really sure that... I mean, I know Hauntzer
really
plays
big
a lot
now.
of Lissandra, but I haven't really seen... I guess Bjergsen played a lot.
He played it at Worlds as well.
Did he?
I'm pretty certain he played it at Worlds himself. So, yeah, I mean, she's just a big champion. She lets you pick people off so easily. She's like just actually become really common again.
A lot of strong picks open here, though. We have Elise open right now. Tahm Kench still available. Gangplank still, even though he wasn't picked.
Kindred's up.
Kindred's up too.
That changes. Like,
there's a lot open right now.
and these are go ahead.
Well, I was going to say people don't really respect TBQ as well. Like, right? If he's Eureka's player, you're like, here, go pick the best champion of the game. You're not very good though.
Yeah. And these champions, they change the dynamic too. You know, get a Kindred in there, get like a Tahm Kench. It changes the way the entire game has to be played. So.
Okay, well, it's banned, so.
Yeah, Kindred is banned, but hey, still a lot left open, and we do see Acorn coming in for the second game.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
What a change of pace. Usually it's like, all right, we're losing Flame, please come in and carry us. It's like, Flame, it's not necessarily you, but Acorn's going to come in and see how things go.
And so look at the first pick as well as the bans from LGD. 3 essentially assassins off the roster, 3 of the biggest ones, plus Tahm Kench picked up. Like, they are ready to now play around Imp very heavily, like, whether that's Triss, whether that's Jink, maybe it's even a Kog'Maw or a Twitch, is something like really damage focused. You may see LGD play completely around him.
Because they were doing well 2v2. Like, they were CSing, even though, you know, every time we tune into that lane, Doublelift was like out-trading them, but he stayed perfectly even on CS, mostly because they had Alistar heal to neutralize stuff. So they weren't really trailing behind, even if TSM like managed to get minor outplays or a kill. Like, Flame stayed even like with Hauntzer on CS for the majority of the time. Mid lane was even slightly ahead for PAinEvil.
It was actually ahead in CS for the majority of the game. Even though like all the lanes are pressured, all the lanes on LGD kept even. Even the top lane that was ahead 3 kills, he was still just keeping even in CS.
Yeah, and you know, as we're looking at Svenskeren, what's he going to lock into? Personally, I'm also curious about, you know, the LeBlanc ban. Sure, you know, Bjergsen plays LeBlanc very well, etc. But again, it's a new TSM where you don't get necessarily as much value by trying to ban out Bjergsen, right? Because Doublelift is still going to be able to carry the game if he needs to.
That's definitely a Shen support.
Yeah, I think it's almost definitely going to be that. The thing is, like, the way that bans work specifically is, like, it's all about, like, the delta in your opposing team's performance, right?
True.
If LeBlanc is 10% worse without those 2 champions, you have a 10% worse mid laner for GodV to go beat up against. And that just really just depends what the champion pools are. Is the strategy too good? Like a bunch of assassins killing off a Kalista. Now Kalista's really safe. Like, these are just tools you have to think about.
The Kalista Tahm Kench lane is the most disgusting. Like, who do I even kill here? Like, I can just ulti the Tahm Kench back and he can eat. And the best thing is when you eat somebody and then just like ulti the person back.
Ult them.
Yeah, oh my god.
It's like Thresh Kalista on steroids. You know, usually you have like, okay, at least we can maybe interrupt the Lantern. That's like the one kind of play. Like, who do you focus? Because, you know, Thresh gets pulled back or Kalista gets Lantern out. The same here. Like, it's
No, we'll see. So LGD seems to have a little bit more, you know, of course, also being first pick, they're going to be able to pick out their cores a little bit earlier. You guys said Shen most likely 99% going to be in that support.
Yeah, Hauntzer does play it. Like, he has played it back with Gravity in the summer split, so there is a chance it is a flex. I do agree with you, though. I think it is most likely to be support here. Next 3 picks for TSM. And the thing is, of course, TSM has to show some of their lanes. Like, now they have to blind, or TSM now have to show their mid lane here, or vice versa, and now they get to counter pick / flex pick the Shen to make top lane the matchup they want here. So now GodV once again gets to pick the matchup he wants in mid.
Not so sure what the value is of hiding that Shen as a flex and then revealing both your major carry roles already. I would have locked just like 80 carry support and then made sure Bjergsen got the counter pick because he should like be able to do well. But then again, Orianna does well into almost every matchup. It's just like neutral.
And yeah, GodV now known as PAinEvil, picking up that costume potentially again. Like you guys said, I mean, Cassidy played well, but
Ori does not do very well against Zed, I'll tell you that right now. I mean, if you go late game and get the Hourglass, and have the Seraph's Embrace and all that, it's good, but that lane can snowball out of control just so fast. And Cassidy's also really good against Orianna as well.
Okay. Yeah. Either way, I mean, Orianna is one of those champions that definitely needs time to stabilize, and then she's almost good in any composition, but you're going to need to get there.
Full on skirmish though, again, no wave clear really coming out. TSM They get ahead and they can pincer and lock LGD under the tower. It's again that similar game flow where they need to find an opening from the side.
Oh, they get
There you
oh.
go.
Victor.
I lied. Victor solves it.
I like
I like it more.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were discussing, is that, you know, PAinEvil, he played well in Kassadin, but that did bite them a little bit in the mid game in game 1. So better rounded out. TSM looking at, yeah, I don't know if
he just harvests it every time.
Yeah,
it's just his new thing.
yeah, it's just one of those things where every player has a champion that they like to go to.
Well balanced composition in terms of like magic damage, tanks, physical damage here on LGD side though. They have the tank focus, like Olaf is like a hybrid, but then Rek'Sai can go pure tank. And Tahm Kench like fills that void a little bit, so they have enough peel. They should have enough damage late game with the Viktor. Viktor's weakness generally is like immobility. Tahm Kench can solve that too, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
They even have ways of going in. You toss in a Tahm Kench, and at least you can get like the knockup or
Yeah, you
something
can just
from
get
the
hard engage
Kalista ulti.
force.
So, yeah, a lot of really good things, especially if they can get some kind of speed ups. A lot of these champions have to walk at you for LGD, so even though you wouldn't want to buy Talisman of Ascension, or maybe you get like Righteous Glory on Tahm Kench, like that's actually a really big pickup here. And TSM, it is, as you said, Shen support. The top lane Gnar matchup here up against Olaf. That one, gonna be interesting.
I think it's a good matchup just because, you know, you have a range advantage. But the problem is if you get hit by one axe in lane, he can just run you down the whole lane. And to be honest, like, once he hits 6, what is Elise going to do to gank him? You can just pretty much shrug off all the CC. And you can even shrug off the Shen taunt if he decides to get into the fight. So I think that the Olaf's going to become a real problem if he starts snowballing. So they need to put him down.
Good thing that TSM picks up another damage component though. Picking Shen up here, another like support, whatever he provides, I don't think would have.
Yeah, Ori Trist is really low
would have really
damage.
worked. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, they have a little bit more to round it out. So then, you know, where does Svenskeren go? I mean, is it just every lane before level 6? You just
Anywhere. You can go
They're going
top,
to lane
yeah.
swap. They're going to lane swap for sure.
Lane swap it,
You don't want to
okay.
play against Kalista, Tahm Kench, that, or even just Olaf in general. You just don't want that. So it's going to be a lane swap scenario, and I think the lanes are going to even out at some point, and then the Shen's just going to come into play.
All right, LGD trying to make this go to game 3, ladies and gentlemen, or will TSM get their first match win with their debut lineup? Let's find out in game 2 between these two teams. Over with the commentators.
Thank you very much, guys. So what do we expect from that pick and ban? It's looking like LGD has got a great pick and ban there.
I think what's the key to both of these teams is that neither one really has very good engage without the use of a flash, which means that it really is probably going to come down to who has priority over objective, who gets there first, because both teams sort of want to kite this one out, more or less, and I think that's going to make the Dragon fights about who's there first, Baron fights about who's there first, and who has to face check.
And with the two compositions that we see in front of us, it's going to be all about the Dragon fights. You have two essentially wombo combo, sort of mid-game power spiking teams. Kalista, Viktor, obviously both very strong in the mid-game. Gnar, Orianna, always the potential with those double forms of AoE CC to really just lock up a whole team. So it's really going to be about, as you said, that setup for both sides. And additionally, making sure that LG doesn't find an early advantage here and allow them to transition that Kalista to her full power.
And leaving the Kalista up is absolutely huge. Imp is one of the best Kalista players in the world. Very, very skilled on that particular pick. So you have to be very cautious about letting him have that. He's shown time and time again in the LPL what he can do with that champion.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 underway. TSM 1-0 up after an interesting first game. I think is the best way to phrase that one. Svenskeren already spotted out, but ward coverage going to be in favor of LGD on this one. Him going a little bit of taunt there. But of course, TSM going to answer that in kind with their own ward coverage down the lower half of the jungle. So a pause.
So as this pause comes out, just looking at the warding at level
I think
1.
PAinEvil was like, I can't see myself in game. There should be GodV somewhere. I just don't see it. I'm just like confused.
I'm going to need another name change. What do you need to make real quick? I actually wanted to play Kassadin. He said I had to play Viktor.
I feel bullied.
The internet already figured out how to meme him as PAinEvil. He's on the hunt for a meme-proof name.
What can he move to for diamond, I wonder? But anyway, yeah, there is a pause here. Clearly you can see it's looking like a sound issue because Johan's straight away on the case here. Very experienced referees, so they're going to be figuring that one out. So, okay, let's talk about what we've seen straight away. Immediately, big warding, obviously, in the top half. Big warding in the bottom half from TSM. Probably going to be a lane swap, no doubt about it.
Yeah, no trinket bot, actually, by PYL there at the start of this game. So
and he's the deepest. Oh, my God, he was meant to be warding the top lane.
Yes, he was.
Oh, that's a... See, you know, when pro players make these mistakes, it literally makes it fallible for all of us. We can all make a mistake now. So yeah,
I've never been so happy to be mediocre at League of Legends.
But yeah, we were just waiting for the results to start out. You can see TSM there on screen. This is the new lineup, TSM, and as has been pointed out by the internet, I've actually commentated every new AD carry that's joined TSM. It's a little strange. I don't know how that bodes for Doublelift. I mean, to be fair, Wild Turtle got a pentakill in his first matchup when I covered him, and poor old Chaos was sent packing.
Are you the Chaos Destroyer?
Yeah. Those tears were felt. Let's put it that way. But yes, a little bit chilly maybe for the top laner there. Just getting him jacket on. By the way, I absolutely love their outfits. The LGD. You have an LGD jacket.
I do. Yeah.
You got it yesterday.
Yeah, the perks. I'm not allowed to wear it on broadcast.
No,
They say
obviously
it's inspiring some bias, but yeah, it was a birthday present from one of the LGD managers. So, trying to butter me up. No buttering up, LGD. I'm gonna be merciless. PAinEvil was in the mid lane. You can't let that go. You gotta throw some flack his way.
And what's with the capital PAE? Like, there's got to be something with the A being capitalized. Or do you think you just mistyped?
See, now I've loved every rendition of his name up until this one, because this one to me is like what I would have named myself in an MMO at age like 10, like PAinEvil. Like it's
the thing is, what's GodV, or was it God5? I mean, what was he going with that?
God 5.
God 5. I don't know. What was he planning on that one? But clearly requesting that name change still, and everybody's confused by it. It's like, you want to change your name to what?
I think it's actually PAinEvil. It's actually just an evil public announcement.
Ah.
Wow. When Doa's not here, you need to make the puns yourself. I see how this combo works now.
It's his coping mechanism. You can't call him out on it.
But yeah, anyway, let's talk about the tournament as a whole while we're waiting for this one to go in. Obviously, coming up is going to be Unicorns of Love, which is a completely new team, against COG, which is a completely new team. Now, we were talking about this one yesterday. Literally, are we going to flip a coin, see how this one goes? How these two new lineups pan out?
I mean, I was about to say I hate to be the downer, but that's actually not true about me. I love to be the downer. So, in the spirit of loving to be the downer, we didn't see the most inspiring game of League of Legends last time. I would put money that the CLG UOL match might even be a little bit lower quality than that.
Hey, UOL turned up here last year with some surprising Twisted Fate jungle from Kikis. We weren't expecting that one. I don't think that was Bjergsen.
I hope we see some more of that from Unicorns of Love, even though Kikis isn't on the team anymore. But, this is a tournament that, with all these roster adjustments and with the fact that the live patch changed over to 522 and made therefore, with all the myriad changes, made scrimming difficult for a lot of these teams. It's tough for these teams to have gotten quality practice before this event. So it's going to be, I think, a little bit sloppy on the whole for every single team involved.
And let's talk about the two teams that are already through, obviously sat waiting in the semi-finals. Origin, they've had PAinEvil changes in there. Do we think this is going to be the new improved Origin? I mean, clearly a very good player.
I think
is the voice going to be carried the same way that Peke does?
And I think that's the big question.
Yeah.
I think overall in the long term this may be an improvement, but immediately I imagine that it will affect team synergy greatly, because you have to think so many vocal veteran players, and PAinEvil comes into this lineup as the new guy. He's going to have a hard time fitting in initially in terms of shot calling, and maybe they've figured that out already, but I think an improvement in terms of mechanics, in terms of communication and team coordination, probably going to be a downgrade, just at least initially here in this first tournament.
And what do we think of Gnar? I mean, are we going to see the sad played again?
I think we might see sad played. That's the thing is, I'm sure people are expecting me to say, "Oh, I think Gnar is going to win this tournament." I actually don't think they're going to win this tournament. Their performance in Kespa Cup was not very inspiring. They are using Kuzan full time now that GBM has gone over to Energy. They're not using Chaser, who I think is the best jungler in Korea. So I don't know where he is right now or why they're choosing to use Wing. Trace is out. Sowan, this very, very raw player, is in. But when we look at Gnar, with the change with Kuzan and so on, they've completely changed their play style. They're much more aggressive now than they used to be. Gnar used to be a very defensive top and mid lane. Their solo lanes were very, very about farming close to the turret, taking very few risks, and that's gone completely the other direction. So they're going to have some growing pains, and we definitely saw that in Kespa Cup.
Overall, I mean, I completely agree, especially in their set against CJ. It was pretty tough. But then, of course, here on your screen, Today it's about Doublelift. CLG, formerly CLG Doublelift, now TSM Doublelift.
Well, I mean, this is something we were talking about off air. Obviously, how is this team going to roll? You know, Doublelift isn't just the star in this team anymore. He's got Bjergsen alongside him, who arguably is a bigger star, certainly in worldwide perspective. Doublelift is a very well respected, but Bjergsen, you know, you only need to look at the All-Star vote to see how big those votes went for these two players. And this is. Are we going to see ego clashes, do you think, as the year goes on? I mean, these guys obviously are both very prolific. Who gets fed? Who's given what? I mean, it's just going to... We've heard that Doublelift is the shot caller, which in itself you have experience with.
Worrying trend for TSM.
And the thing that I really like about TSM is that while there are definitely issues in terms of their coordination and their shot calling, and even in their pick ban phase, they know what they're good at right now. If they're going to have Doublelift be the shot caller, they're going to build a team around Doublelift. But we're going to have to see if that's how this game plays out as we're coming back in at the tail end of this pause.
Yeah, so we're going to get ourselves resumed here. And I want to just briefly also touch on the top lane, because Acorn is playing today. We weren't sure exactly coming into today who was going to be up there. What do you make of this one?
I think Acorn was definitely not himself at the World Championship. When we think about Acorn as a player, because he was really the one on Samsung Blue that helped develop a lot of what we consider like the more modern lane swaps with teleport right now. And he's always been a spot-on player, but his TP usage was atrocious at the World Championship. So we'll see how he does in this particular game, because the coordination seemed very, very off in their first few games at Worlds.
I never know what to make of like a substitute change mid-tournament. Like Flame's just like, I did all right in the last game. Why am I not playing now?
The thing about LGD is that historically, the reason that they've used Acorn over Flame is that Acorn has brought a much more authoritative role, kind of as Monty was saying, communicates much better with the team.
Right.
So maybe shifting focus here, maybe not so much on the split push plan anymore, and more about playing as a team, moving around the map as a team, as opposed to Flame, who, I mean, despite his flexibility as a player, when he's in the game, a lot of times it becomes all about Flame on the top side of the map.
Well, we'll see how it works out. The lane swap has not happened, and this is somewhat surprising already.
Well, I mean, Tristana does have a nice matchup with Kalista. That's so the TSM may be confident going into this one. But Imp is just such a fearsome Kalista player, and that's going to be potentially an issue for them. They are taking a bit of a risk right here. We are seeing pretty much just weird jungling going down on opposite sides of the map. Ping down onto the blue buff of LGD. So a good idea of where Rek'Sai is at this point in time.
POL just getting a little aggression. kaSing trying to push in there, but this top lane matchup, Hauntzer did very well in the first game. How is he going to compare now with Acorn? The fact that obviously they've had a very big champion change. His Renekton was clearly impressive.
I think the big change here is that Renekton's a lot about solo outplays in the early game, snowballing ahead. Gnar's going to be all about the team fight as we move forward. And as was pointed out on the desk, if Olaf finds an advantage in this lane, if he lands that one crucial axe, Gnar really just doesn't have the tools to get away. He has that one hop. Once Olaf uses Ragnarok, he's just going to be able to gut run him down. But here in the bot lane, a lot of aggression.
Okay, so what we missed right there actually was a huge skirmish that I was watching on my screen, and flashes blown actually from a taunt flash from kaSing. And now we got some action on the top side.
Oh, that's not going to catch on towards him. The Cocoon's not enough, but they're going to pounce in towards him. The Fangs will sink in. It should be enough, and it will be. And Hauntzer gets first blood for a second game running, but now Doublelift is in trouble. The rocket jump isn't going to be enough to get to the tower. It will be. Had to heal in reserve as well, but he gets out alive.
Yeah, TSM actually really misplayed that trade on the bottom side, but they made a play on the top side, getting that first blood. And Hauntzer, once again, out to an early lead against his Korean opponents. So very nicely done. Coming in here from Hauntzer. And Hauntzer, I think, has been the biggest upside for TSM so far in this series.
Well, PAinEvil very much out of position. He should be able to stun up. He's got the backup of TBQ trying to bait them into that one, but Bjergsen was having to sidestep there. Potentially could have forced a bit more of a play, but this is going to be an interesting one, this mid lane. Obviously, Bjergsen, PAinEvil, they're both big farmers, these champions.
Well, going back to the bottom lane, no summoners left, so we did miss a big skirmish. TSM really tried to all in down there, and the only thing they got was the ignite and the heal out of LGD. So both flashes still up. LGD could easily turn this around with an all-in of their own, and they have the advantage in terms of the sustain. Vamp Scepter already done for Imp. Meanwhile, Doublelift just sitting on a long sword. So LGD, they need to start focusing down onto this bottom side. TBQ should be looking for some sort of lane gang to try and push this edge.
Yeah, something we didn't actually touch on is the lack of TPs. There's only the top laners this time around. Bjergsen, of course, defaulting to go with the Ignite as well this time around. So We'll keep our eye on that movements. Clearly, it's all going to be about Acorn, trying to get that split push going, trying to put the damage down. Svenskeren doing a very good job early at roaming, and he may well come a return visit. There's no flash available for Acorn. This is dangerous stuff for him. I think his little spider senses are tingling here, and actually, TBQ is coming up the river towards him.
Rek'Sai being there, just trying to dissuade the gank there while they push up the wave. They need to make sure it bounces off the turret so he can farm more safely without the threat of that gank. So nice positioning there on the map from TBQ. And the cleanse coming down from PAinEvil, that's a necessary thing in this game against a Shen and a Gnar. He really needs to make sure that he doesn't get stunned because Viktor has to be able to get in that fight and relatively close to maximize his damage. And also it just helps him not get set up for some sort of wombo combo coming in from the Orianna ult right after the Gnar ultimate. But again, we talked about this before. Neither team really has great engage in this particular match. That you kind of have to use either like a flash Gnar ult or a flash taunt if you're TSM. Otherwise, you're not going to get close enough. You'll be very easily kited by champions like Olaf, Viktor, and Kalista. And the same is true of LGD. I mean, what are we looking at? Like a flash unburrow, maybe throwing PYL in there with the Kalista ult. So poor engage from both sides. And that means that positioning on the map is everything in this game. Vision control is very important. And TSM, they really had poor warding in the last game.
Definitely, and that was the big weakness, right? Is that they never warded their flanks, and that's not something they can afford to do this time around. There was a much more forgiving for them when they had that late game scaling team comp, but now they have two very mid-game focused lineups, all about those team fights, all about that positioning, as you said. And so, while last game they were able to get away once or twice with not warding their flanks, if they make a mistake like this in the mid game, give Kalista or Viktor a couple kills, it'll be impossible for them to come back as they push forward.
Exhaust is back up for kaSing. Flash is almost, so they've not been punished too bad, but they know the timing, and you can see TBQ just lurking in the wings there, looking to see if he can get something off the side, but not going to happen. They're well aware of it. They had good ward coverage in the river, so TSM not getting caught out. There's a shockwave trying to catch up towards PAinEvil, quickly countered with the Chaos Storm, locking him up. In comes TBQ. Bjergsen has to flash away, will get out alive, but big aggression from both mid laners.
Yeah, Bjergsen not even dropping the ignite there, so trying to go for the harassment, not finishing up that kill, and he's going to be paying for it with that use of the flash. So now there's another chance perhaps to come back into the mid lane and make a play. TBQ, again, TBQ's positioning and his pathing this game have actually been pretty decent.
He's consistently been where he needs to be in terms of mitigating the pressure put out by Svenskeren, which has been very important. Really, the only fumble was in that early game as Svenskeren once again focused down top lane, which, as you mentioned earlier, an odd strategy to see TSM bust out, known as the team to kind of ignore their top laner with Dyrus. But focusing on getting Hauntzer these early advantages has really paid off for them, or at least it did in the earlier games.
Big pressure, though, from Bjergsen. That's a big CS differential starting to build up between him and PAinEvil.
Yeah, same thing in the bottom side. So he has been doing a good job of zoning out this Viktor early on. And we'll see if GodV, PAinEvil, Wayless, the man of many names, can come back. He should be able to pick up a lot of waves here in the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Viktor, you just beam a laser across and thank you very much. That's 6 kills.
Yeah.
Very easy stuff. Very easy farming. We'll see how it continues. There you go. Perfectly illustrated for you at home. So Svenskeren sets up the first kill, and it's worked out well twice with him and Hauntzer. This little partnership is beginning to flourish early on. The question is, can it carry on throughout the game? Acorn, very aggressive stop here. We, along with PAinEvil, are going for a big invade. That was a big axe to land straight away, and he's going straight aggressive for this one. Pops his ultimate. You've got nowhere to go. You're just going to come straight back down towards him. It buys him enough time for Bjergsen to get around. Now Hauntzer's going to try and keep track around, but Acorn, he's already used Ragnarok. He can't get away from this one. Hauntzer going to chase. In comes TBQ and PAinEvil to get the zone out, and now Hauntzer's in trouble. He has to pounce away, and that red buff looks to be going the way of LGD.
Good decision making from Hauntzer just to jump out on the backside of that one. A lot of players would have waited for the rage, risk going Mega Gnar. Oh, he goes back in.
Oh, this is risky play. Hauntzer going in. Svenskeren going in, just gives up a free kill there. But that shockwave pulls in. Is it going to quite be enough? No, the Chaos Storm catches on there. kaSing gets in and gets the kill straight away, and now TBQ's in trouble. That taunt's not going to quite catch on towards TBQ. And I didn't even catch, I think the Bjergsen got the red buff out of it, but really, you know, that was a 1-for-1 overall. But could have been so much more.
Well, but they had to abandon the bottom side turret in order to do it. They were already losing the bottom lane. Now Doublelift is going to be zoned out of more XP. He's going to try and get onto this mid, but Viktor's going to come back most likely in time to save this. There's the TP coming in from Acorn immediately just to get there. Make sure they can't take this turret. Axe is flying through the minion wave. Flank threatened. And they're waiting. The axes are coming. Viktor is there.
TPQ's going for it. They're going to get the knock-up. Bjergsen in trouble. He gets locked up and taken down. It's going to be PAinEvil that gets that kill. Doublelift also forced away, and this may just give them that middle turret.
Excellent collapse coming in from LGD to have Imp and PYL on the backside, using that Fate's Call to find an advantage. Doublelift trading a kill back, but now the pressure is in LGD's favor, and they have the tools necessary to take down this mid lane. No TP from Bjergsen. He's not going to be able to make it back.
Yeah, this is a really poor decision-making from TSM about where to make plays on the map. Go ahead and give up that red buff at that point. You weren't set up for it. Bjergsen was back. Sure, they traded 1-for-1 kills, but they lost the bottom turret. Meanwhile, Acorn able to clean up that wave, and they've nearly actually reversed the tower on this mid lane itself. Hauntzer waiting in the brushes.
Oh, Hauntzer, I'm not sure you can win this duel. Acorn's going to pop Ragnarok and chase on towards him, and Hauntzer has to leap away. Yeah, that's a risky play from him, and clearly showing the aggression and confidence that Acorn is showing already on Olaf.
LGD's lane assignments have been quite good so far this game. They're playing with an appropriate amount of aggression in the enemy jungle, and it's reaping them some rewards. Got that turret. We'll see if they can transition into a mid lane push here and try and take down and snowball the game off of that. TSM, they can just sit back and wave clear right now, but they're going to have a hard time farming on that bottom side.
It's going to be interesting to see when teams try to force this dragon, as we see Doublelift and kaSing posturing around that area, because this is going to be really the big arena for these teams to fight in. TSM can use it to force fights anytime they want, because they have, in theory, the superior team fight with this Gnar. However, the question is, will LGD take the bait? Will they be willing to give up those dragons and look for something else? Could find the engage here.
Oh, there's the shockwave. PAinEvil. I'm not sure there's enough damage done there. And that's a great little catch, but in comes Doublelift flying in to secure the kill. I'm not sure Bjergsen's quite happy with that, but you know, he'll take it.
Good play by kaSing, and PAinEvil just missed position. He had a ward in that brush right there that's going to cause them to lose the mid turret now that they've lost their wave clear. Sloppy from PAinEvil to try and take that route when you can see, of course, that the Shen was right there. And kaSing didn't even have to flash to get that taunt off. So just really dangerous play by PAinEvil when his cleanse isn't up to try and path down towards the dragon like that. And they will be punished.
Definitely. Losing that tower going to be pretty huge at this stage of the game. TSM finding a small gold lead. And overall, just losing all that pressure is really going to be the biggest issue. Hauntzer and Acorn still just farming up here on the top side, but I'm really wondering who's going to find a major advantage next. You can see Doublelift more focused on the late game scaling build once again with the Avarice Blade. That could count against him, as we see the Blade of the Rune King and surely the Runeans afterwards to be next for Imp.
And the big factor here is Doublelift is getting propped up by the fact that he has gotten 2 kills, but his itemization is very far behind. If LGD goes for an early dragon right here, they will have the advantage. They're going to gank top, though.
Ragnarok popped very early once again, making sure he doesn't get slowed down by Hauntzer too much. kaSing was just waiting off the side, and they're not going to go aggressive on this one. Hauntser's going to try and keep the pressure on, but that was a failed gank from LGD.
Hauntzer telegraphed that so hard. Yeah. He turned back around. Instead of baiting them in kaSing, he turned back around, and Acorn's like, if you're turning around right now, I know there's somebody else there. So doesn't actually take that bait, and they're not going to be able to get an advantage out of it. Instead, Acorn will just fall back and start wave clearing at the turret. And you can see right now, PYL just doing what he can to zone Doublelift off the wave. And he is very, very far behind when it comes to CS.
But he did get the 2 kills.
Yes, the 2 kills are
countering it.
It is.
Ish. It's not quite that much difference. So that's a 40 CS differential right now.
The problem is that gold has been used on an Avarice Blade. That's 800 gold. So coming in, I mean, those 2 kills are kind of null and void. He is not going to be ready to fight for a very long time.
And you can see LGD very aware of this as they start to push in on the dragon. They know that there's no way the enemy team can contest them. They have the raw power and objective control of this Kalista. And additionally, Viktor ready to rotate down and fight at any moment. So good call from LGD to get aggressive on this and to force it out.
And the Orianna, that's the advantage for TSM, and it's a nice one, but early on in the game, okay, Orianna used her gold on an Athenes for mana regen and, you know, not much in the way of combat stats, honestly, compared to the Viktor who's been upgrading his Hex Core. So the advantage will play out eventually, but it's definitely more immediate for LGD.
kaSing's not going to get caught out by that one. PYL will come in. They were trying to camp out this blue buff and giving it off to Bjergsen. I think he may have picked it up already. I didn't actually catch vision of it because the blue buff was stolen down the bottom. Hauntzer once again taking the damage, but Acorn forcing him away. I want to talk about Hauntzer briefly because he has had a great chance at the top. Hello, here comes Tahm Kench. He's going to be bringing Imp with him. And now he's going to catch on towards it. Bjergsen with a great, beautiful shockwave, but isn't it enough? He's well out of position. There's no way Bjergsen's going to get out of this one. Not going to get caught out, not going to get stunned up. Will continue to slow them down and speed himself. So at the moment, he's running them a merry dance and putting a lot of damage down on towards PAinEvil. He has to back out of the fight. In comes kaSing. kaSing's going to help him out, but is that just going to feed them 2 kills? It looks like it may well do. He's going to continue running. kaSing tries to peel off to the side. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, and they will both get caught out. kaSing gets chomped down, but Bjergsen may just get out alive.
They've got no mana.
Blue buff, please. Come on, keep ticking. That's all he's got to do. He's continuing to put the damage down, and Bjergsen echoes Peke's great escape before, but the damage, and look at the bottom lane. You know, this has given Doublelift all the free time in the world to keep free farming and pushing that tower.
That was an absolutely terrible play by TSM that actually managed to work out their advantage, but here we go.
Oh, you're not getting out of this one. Where are you going to repel to? Tries to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking, and a quick little poke from TBQ finishes it off. It buys them a turret, but it costs them 2 deaths.
I would praise them for Bjergsen taking so much time for Doublelift to get there,
absolutely.
but kaSing coming in on the backside, the shield was almost entirely unutilized on the Stand United, so really just a waste of resources, and giving up that kill there. Bought a lot of time, gave up a few kills. Yes, the tower is huge, but once again, sloppy decision-making is not what we want to see in this game.
Yeah, but that said, TSM, they are 2 towers up now as a result, and Doublelift has been able to successfully split push, so net advantage to TSM. They managed to turn it into something, but this game is looking sloppy, and Acorn had a good TP, but couldn't actually finish off the kill on the Bjergsen. They had a nice collapse. The idea was good. The execution wasn't really working in their favor.
I think as we push forward, it'll be easier for them to pull that off as Acorn gets a few more items under his belt. But once again, we talked about mobility as an issue. When we see a Viktor and an Olaf, at least historically, was paired with something like a Sivir, giving you that mobility for these 2 regularly quite immobile carries. So not having that, instead going with the Kalista, means their engage tools, as you mentioned, as we mentioned time and time again, is just they're really not there for them.
Especially because Olaf is running Flash instead of Ghost, which means that Olaf is going to be very dependent on teleport, like more so, because he can't just pop Ghost and charge in from the front line. Not going to be very effective, so he's got to find another way to get in there, and it's going to come down to Acorn's TPs. And I've seen Acorn have very good TPs, but recently, in recent memory, those TPs at Worlds were not...
It's questionable. That's for sure. Hauntzer, though, been doing a great job as the top lane, honestly. Has got himself first blood against both Flame and Acorn. But Acorn just teetering around the edge this time. Svenskeren once again a little out of position. It's PYL that's trying to put a pressure on him, but Bjergsen is there. PAinEvil collapses, and this is a good little collapse. Where's he going to go? He's got kaSing just around the side, but Svenskeren in trouble. He's getting locked up. There's no way he's getting out, and that was a very easy collapse for LGD to pick themselves up the jungler.
And a good, quick, confident pick means they'll probably be able to grab the top lane tower as well. And TSM doesn't really have any pressure elsewhere on the map. A TP in the mid lane, though.
Oh, they're going to try and answer it. PAinEvil caught out. He's going to get locked up. A Doublelift will pick up the kill. They can push straight through this mid lane turret. This could be a bit of a trade going on here. Top lane is going to get taken down. Looks like LGD will finish that one off, but they have to respect this push that TSM have managed to react to. Good little teleport there.
And I don't think they're going to get that top turret, actually. The minion's going to die, so they don't even get it in the end, but maybe they can try and stave off the damage. But if they don't get that top, they recall, and this goes down, is a really bad call from LGD, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, Acorn has stuck around at the top there, so he should get it now. But yeah, that's a middle tier 2 turret for the top lane. That was a great trade from TSM.
And I think this is GodV just not understanding his role within the team, overextending a little bit. That's not something you can afford to do.
This game.
Exactly, and he is their only reliable source of wave clear. So if he goes down, turrets are sure to drop as well. So he cannot afford to get caught out.
His pathing has been really suspect. That's the second time he's put himself in a very dangerous position on the map and been punished for it. Now, TSM's been doing a good job of collapsing and making those plays work, but not really heads-up map awareness here from PAinEvil.
Not at all. And what's the bigger issue here is this gold lead continues to grow, is coming into the next team fight. That's really going to show if TSM can get the setup necessary. Now, they don't have too much vision, or they do have a decent amount of vision. LGD don't have the vision really around Dragon necessary to contest or fight this one out. So TSM should be able to take this Dragon as well with some confidence.
One thing that needs pointing out is Doublelift has now got 3 kills. He's caught up a bit in the CS. Still a 30 CS differential, but Tristana getting stronger and stronger in the late game will be a big deal. And in terms of goal between the two, you know, Doublelift is ahead, and he's what? Close to 1,000, yeah, 800 gold ahead.
800 gold ahead, and that was the lane that LGD could have snowballed off of once they put him down the early game. But Double has picked up the kills. He has been split pushing very well, and he's been taking the solo gold from the turrets on the split push. So it's been really advantageous, and he's managed to turn it around, but has to jump over.
Yeah, a little bit of respect required there. Dragon spawning. Doublelift did take a chunk of damage, but if he had a lifesteal that back, I tell a lie, he's only really got a small item to lifesteal, so I doubt if he's going to pull it back too quick, but TSM going to try and set up this one. Hauntzer a long way off Gnar though, trying to set himself up, gets stunned out and locked up and takes a big chunk of damage. TSM, they just have to back away from this, and they've got TBQ locked in the pit, but I think it's Hauntzer that's been locked down more than anything. Gets another poke from PAinEvil, and now finally turns into Gnar, but it's too late. TSM not involved in that engage.
And this is the problem that we talked about with engage. LGD had the priority. TSM, without the Gnar, the Gnar bar wasn't up. Hauntzer wasn't going to be able to try and get a flash engage on there.
This is risky.
Yeah, you really want to be on that dragon first, or on that objective first, and LGD, they could take it with very, very little threat.
Are they really trying to set up for a gank here? No, they're trying to push them and just escape through the mid lane. Okay, they're just going to try and draw them away. They have ward coverage in the middle. They have a wave coverage here. So LGD kind of a little out of position themselves now. Oh, Shockwave pulls in, but it's only P-Whale. They catch on. That Grey Matter will keep him alive for now, but that was a big hit. They're going to try to chase on this first one. Doublelift and Hauntzer very, very low, but doesn't look like the Chaos Storm's going to catch on towards them, and not quite close enough. And it does look like everybody will escape. But overall, LGD got the dragon.
LGD can't engage either. There's no way you're going to get through the chunks with the level of zone control that TSM had. Sure, they tried to go in once the shockwave went down, but look at the disengage. You have the buster shot coming through. You have so many tools just to move out and kite if you're TSM. So over-aggressive there. They just need to push them off the mid wave and Doublelift.
No, he's good. He's good. I mean, this is what I was talking about, the lifesteal. He's basically only got a Doran's Blade. That's it.
Towards more.
I'm pretty sure he's going to stack that up next.
Probably. Hopefully should be able to finish the static shiv here.
Yeah.
If he does pick up that zeal, able to clear it out shortly on the bottom side. Hauntzer's kind of moved over to this sort of split pushing role, using that range and the safety he has from that hop to kind of let himself back off. On the opposite side, Acorn, we saw him flash forward incredibly aggressively at the tail end of that fight, and then it just immediately had to back off. And that's going to be a huge issue as he pushes forward in this lane, because he has the Ragnarok to keep him safe, but he has really no kill pressure on Hauntzer at this stage of the game.
Again, we just see a total lack of wards here. He's going to go onto Hauntzer.
Oh, and Hauntzer has to flash away and counter it, realizes, hang on a minute, I can turn this in my favor. Ragnarok down, Hauntzer in a straight one-on-one, takes down Acorn.
No flash, huge mistake to get aggressive there, have to say, but the rest of the team posturing to get picked on.
PYL caught locked up, that's going to be a quick cocoon on towards him. He manages to flash out alive, but Doublelift will pick up another, and there's a shockwave landing. Imp is getting decimated, Doublelift will get himself another and leaps out alive. And TSM has started to turn on the pressure. PAinEvil gets locked up, kaSing will not quite finish him off, but TSM get themselves a couple of kills for free.
And that was a great use of the one-on-one kill. kaSing just going to delay the recall here, chucking a sword out, but using that solo kill to try and turn it around on the opposite side of the map. Hauntzer didn't end up having to use his TP right there, chose not to get involved in that fight, but they make the plays, and they've extended their gold lead now to about 5,000 here at 23 minutes, so substantial advantage for TSM.
And look at the difference in the CS between these top laners, 141 to 180, a massive lead for Hauntzer, finds the solo kill on Acorn, a much more experienced player, and just amazing play. But looking at this team fight here, you can see how aggressive they get. They find the pick, and the big thing to watch for is as they push forward, getting caught out by the shockwave. They walk right into that zone where TSM have absolute control, and they get ripped apart. Doublelift, some flashy bounce house plays, the signature aggressive 80 carry moments as he finds a way out of that fight, and there's just no damage left as PAinEvil is running out of mana, has to burn through too many cooldowns, and overall just very well executed by TSM.
TSM actually doing a great job getting wards up in that top side. That was one of the keys to look at for them in this second game. And now they have that Baron control looking much more tight in their play around that objective in this game number 2.
And Doublelift has moved close to a 2,000 gold differential now between him and Imp. And that is huge. The Tristana getting ahead of Kalista, that's a real big problem 24 minutes into this game. But LGD do pick up that mid turret. So finally taking away some of that free vision that TSM have garnered themselves, but start to make a little challenge for a bit of Baron control here, a bit of vision in that river. Still a long time on Dragon, so it looks to be just a simple bit of posturing from both teams. Who is the stronger? Who's going to get the vision down? Remember, the warding from TSM in the previous game was far from perfect. And again, quite a lack of it right now.
The other issue as we look at the warding, not really being there for the team as they push forward, is that they may not have the same insane late game scaling that they had in the previous game, but they still have a Tristana who's going to outscale the Kalista, and the Orianna who serves a very similar role to Viktor, but will outscale as we push further forward. Just much more flexibility from that champion and what she can do, and it's going to be very difficult once again for LGD as they push further and further forward.
Well, they have the Olaf, though, and against the CC-heavy TSM composition, that's going to be key, because if Acorn gets into the back line, he is going to absolutely wreck TSM. So it's a lot on Acorn, and he's really far behind at the current time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, because he's going to be trying to get to Doublelift, but Doublelift kind of has the damage to deal with him already.
He's also just building magic resist, and Hauntzer is putting out a lot of just physical damage with the Black Cleaver, and Doublelift obviously has found his way back into this game, so he's got to get some armor if he wants to survive.
And despite having double magic damage threats, I really don't understand this decision as pushing forward, because Bjergsen is itemizing incredibly defensively, is moving towards that more supportive position. There's no Void Staff there, there's no Death Cap. He's posturing just to protect Doublelift, to find those engages with the Shockwave, and not looking for much else.
Yeah, and you have to be able to counter the split push of the Gnar, so I really don't get this build that's coming in here from Acorn. I don't think it's going to be particularly useful for him in the mid and late game.
And Doublelift now full item ahead. Full item, Last Whisper in his hand. Imp is gonna have to really position himself well, but you know what? Kalista can do that. that's what the champion's all about. Dragon gonna be spawning, so that is gonna be the next objective. Now at the moment, Hauntzer's gonna get caught out down the side here. PAinEvil and Acorn trying to gang up on him, and that may just have gifted the Dragon across to LGD. TSM, this is gonna be a risky engage if they go for it. He's got teleport available, Hauntzer, so if he's going to back away, which he's doing, he could TP in time. And they, well, LGD have taken the time to start this Dragon off. Are we going to see some aggression? No. Bjergsen's backing away. That's going to be LGD's Dragon.
LGD just doing a much better job of setting up for this objective overall. Once again, finding small advantages. This time around, didn't zone out with the Viktor Gravity Field, found some damage onto Hauntzer, turned that into the Dragon. And this kind of control, pushing into 3 Dragons at this stage of the game, is really good for them. It will help them balance out their sort of lack of late game scaling if they can hit that 5th Dragon.
Yeah, and we're looking at, what, about 38 minutes for that Dragon number 5 if they get Dragon number 4. So this is a good position for LGD to be in, despite the fact that they're behind. But again, it comes down to rewards. Complete coverage in that river. And we did see Hauntzer pushing up and trying to walk into river when he was totally blind, not knowing where everybody was on the map, taking that chunk, and he was Mega Gnar. So even if he had gone back and healed up, he wasn't going to have Mega Gnar for the next fight, and they must have that for these. They are absolutely reliant on that Gnar ultimate to engage.
Bit of pressure from TSM trying to push it down the mid lane, but remember, they've already taken that tier 2 turret, so it's the inhib they're going to be pushing on. I'm not sure they've quite got enough to draw them away, but they're going to get a couple of free shots on there, and you can see how much damage Doublelift can do. That's the half the turret gone down. LGD a little slow to react to this one. PYL taken very low there, but TSM now finally forced to back away, but that was way more damage than I was expecting to get put on that turret.
And interesting that PAinEvil decided to laser the champions instead of the creep wave there. Could have cleared that out much faster. Maybe hoping to find a fight on the back of that damage, but either way, lost a lot of tower health because he just refused to clear out the wave. Doublelift got at least 5 extra autos off on it.
This is just going to be a quick clearance, and LGD, see how they decide to play about this again. They do have a lot of knowledge about what's going on that topside river, so they'll know that this Baron really isn't an option right now for TSM. See how Acorn can do in this split push against the Gnar. That it's probably going to be much more effective in that particular one-on-one situation.
And pushing forward, TSM clearly identifying that the only source of wave control is PAinEvil. You can see the this itemization coming out from Shen. He's going to be able to give the magic immunity over to that creep, as it's been done now on the bottom side of the map, and no one's going to be able to approach that later in the game if that has a Baron buff. No one can clear that out.
Yep.
So at the moment, TSM, they have the gold advantage. It is only a 5,000 gold advantage, and it really doesn't feel like much of an advantage right now. LGD certainly able to keep up with them in team fights. which you've yet to see a big team fight. Nobody fighting over one of those big objectives just yet. Very much Olaf out of position in. Bjergsen out of position. Caught up. He should go down in. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? That shield just hanging on, but Acorn comes piling in. Sonya's hourglass is only going to buy him a little bit of time, and now Doublelift caught up. He tries to rocket jump away, tries to turn that damage around, but quickly he's in trouble. He's going to get locked up. That is another kill. That's a 3-for-1, and LGD, well, they can take what they want.
And Acorn, that was the key. He had to get into a position to get the teleport off to get into the backline. Sure, he was exhausted, but he managed to find the angle onto Bjergsen. Now Svenskeren and Hauntzer are going to try and stop this Baron, and will they be successful? It's like LGD's not going to take the risk of actually going for the Baron right away. TPQ does have his ultimate up, though, if he wanted to come back in. I think LGD should press harder for this Baron.
I think once again the confidence from both of these teams has been very hit or miss over the course of this series, not taking more opportunities, just letting small advantages go, not getting anything else out of it. But as we come into this team fight, you can see just how huge this is. Bjergsen pulls back into his team, pulls back, tries to find a front line, but the TP on the side here, the aggressive flash from Acorn, gets such a huge advantage. You can see PYL is going to move forward here, tries to save the day, doesn't quite find it, but the Fate's Call lets him re-engage anyway, and LGD using their team comp to the fullest potential
And
here.
look at the position. Bjergsen just strolling past the walls. Not a ward in sight. Had no idea what was around that corner. Completely out of position.
Yeah, LGD is being given a lifeline by TSM at several points during this game simply by face-checking areas without any kind of vision. And LGD has capitalized on that. They've been quick to teleport in. They've been quick to set up and make the plays. And they're going to be staring in 2 minutes at Dragon number 4. Here's the Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, is he going to catch on? Bjergsen, remember, no flash available for him, and he has to use the Zhonya so early on. Chaos Storm raining down on towards him. He uses just about everything to keep himself alive, but this has bought LGD all the time they need. The mid laner down. Svenskeren forced to back away. This should be Baron.
Well, they've still got 4 members up, so we'll see if they will be so bold. It looks like the answer is yes.
They can't outsmite the Kalista, so if Imp has enough time to set up here, there's no way they can do this unless Imp completely fumbles out.
Remember, Sven managed to get a steal in the previous matchup. Doublelift still alive. They're trying to get the peel on towards him. Hauntzer's got himself into Mega Gnar. He pounces in towards him, slams them away, but is it enough? The damage, TVQ taking a lot of damage off the side there. Doublelift trying to get the damage down towards him. He gets onto PYL. He gets onto TYQ. I can't believe what's happening. Doublelift is going to get himself a second and a third. Now he has to back away. Now they have to respect it. Oh, PAinEvil's laser doesn't catch on. Svenskeren caught out. But Doublelift now, can he escape? I don't think he's quite got enough. Imp should catch on towards him, and PAinEvil's laser does enough. But that, I think TSM will still be happy. It stopped the Baron. They got themselves a hatful of kills for Doublelift.
And right when I criticize LGD for their lack of confidence, they make a bold move, and it completely pays off despite a beautiful Gnar ult coming in from Hauntzer on the backside of that fight. LGD just ripped through the team, Imp putting out consistent damage and just allowed to destroy everyone.
Yeah, take a look at Hauntzer coming in right here, because you see all the spears coming in, and then you see Imp get knocked into the Baron here. So he starts to actually, after the stun, he actually did have a chance to keep those spears up, and they made the decision to turn on that fight all the same. But Imp managing to clean up despite not having the biggest amount of damage in this game, and using the Spiderlings just to continue to jump forward. And fortunately for him too, a minion wave right here, so he can continue to get his dashes off and be more of a nuisance. Nice death ray at the end from PAinEvil to pick up the kill.
And good use of the Siphon Power and that Kalista Martial Poise passive to continue moving forward, but Baron being postured around as they push forward. TSM looked determined to take the Dragon in this exchange.
TBQ started the Baron off. Dragon's been picked up by TSM. That's going to get them the first one, but can they react? Can they get here in time? Because this Baron is going down quickly. Acorn's going to be the man that distracts them. Svenskeren's rushing towards it. He knows he needs to get in quickly. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Baron will go to LGD. TSM out of position there, and now they have to back away. They have to respect the damage that LGD have. Hauntzer caught out. He's got no Gnar available to him, and that's going to be a shockwave. Is it enough? PYL taking damage. Doublelift once again around the side. Svenskeren will catch on, but that was a great catch there from PAinEvil, and that will turn the fight on its head. It's a 2-for-2 still, though, and TSM are not done yet.
They're going to back off right now, but TSM did not get that Dragon. Crucially, they turned off the Dragon in order to move up to the Baron, so they have to defend it right now. They cannot go back.
Oh, that's risky. Doublelift running straight in towards it. Look at the damage back on towards him. Is it enough, Doublelift? Oh, kaSing used his ult, but he didn't go aggressive. He's just jumped straight into the stun. He got the kill on him, though, and that's all he needed.
Great planning there from TSM. So you saw what happened with kaSing. just backing off and then using the Stand United to get the shield so Doublelift could chunk them out. They had to make sure that that Dragon was not taken. They got another Baron buff off the members of LGD right now. kaSing gonna come in, and looks like they are going to actually prevent LGD from getting Dragon number 4. Still a few Baron buffs up on LGD, but overall TSM played that last little positional war very well.
Definitely confidence inspiring on the side of TSM to see them make good moves in this game. I mean, the vision control is still a huge issue, but when they have vision and they have knowledge of the enemy team, they're playing incredibly proficiently. And Doublelift, huge show of confidence there to get aggressive, but taking out Imp means absolutely everything as they move forward in this game. Shutting him down early on is very important.
Yeah, look at this, the back off right there, the 2 shields onto Doublelift so he can get that poke damage. PAinEvil not having a lot, and Imp actually just getting the explosive shot on him and picking up that very crucial kill.
And the input buffer on the Tristana jump to make sure he would make it out of the gravity field before there could be any potential turnaround here.
So 16-15, another chaotic game between LGD and TSM. But TSM are 1-0 up in this best of 3, and more importantly for them, Doublelift has 10 kills and now a QSS, which means he's going to be perhaps a little bit more bolder in his attacks if he could get that way. He's been very impressive so far, yeah. Crazy stuff from him. But LGD definitely been taking it to them. You know, they've been playing from behind in gold this whole match, yet they still have been the ones on the aggression.
Yeah, and I mean, really the whole series, Doublelift.
Chaos Storm used very early on Doublelift there. Thought he could maybe chunk him down quicker, but Doublelift just quite happily life-stealing him away. And that's a big ulti to be down now for LGD. I think TSM is going to push on towards its inhib turret.
Hauntzer actually did use his Gnar ult right there. It was flashed by TBQs, so they couldn't secure that kill. And now they're down their main initiation tool. So they're going to try and get the siege rolling here, but PAinEvil does have a blue buff and a Baron buff, so it's going to be really difficult to siege. Holy cow.
Gravity well used very early on there. Remember, we already saw the damage that Doublelift can put onto this tower, and look at that. It's like a minigun as he just mows it down. Now open inhib, and this is very tricky now, LGD, but they played the entire last matchup in this same situation, so they're well aware of what they've got to do. Doublelift though on TBQ, that's going to force him back. Imp's going to try and go aggressive on this one. Gets caught out, big chunk there. That's going to be kaSing using the ultimate. They got quite caught out. They try to dive in. TBQ caught out, but what can they do from this one? Imp's going to get locked up. Quickly gets eaten away. PYL devours him and pulls him out of danger. And LGD just about hanging on. That's a great Zhonya's out from Bjergsen. It will just keep him alive. The inhib will finally go down, and TSM survive in a 1-0 fight.
All right, get that inhibitor once again. We saw this last game. The question now is, can they close? Because that was what they were having trouble with. And that all started out with PAinEvil just getting chunked out in that front line instead of clearing the minion waves. And without him there, it was all too easy for Doublelift just to push forward and try and take that turret. And you cannot hurt that thing, PAinEvil.
I think the big issue as we looked at that fight is that PAinEvil is still playing incredibly aggressively on this LGD lineup, playing like he's that kaSing. He does not have the Zhonyas, he does not have the safety of the Rift Walk, but he continues to play on the front lines in each and every one of those engages. And sometimes it's worked out for the team. They've found some excellent fights, but for the most part, it's really been holding them back.
Yeah, it's been a little bit risky, but he took cleanse for a reason here because he wanted to get up in that front line. So it's a decision he's had to make. With that summoner spell. Now, take a look as the vision starts to be reclaimed by LGD around this turret. Or Baron, rather.
Well, Doublelift continuing his farm. Now has finally caught up with him in terms of CS, very much even, but in terms of gold, it's quite disparaging between the two. You can see 14.8k to 17k, but they're both well into their builds by now, so not really a differential. QSS picked up, more importantly, by Imp. He was caught out, remember, in that previous fight, which is what took him down, but PYL did manage to pull him to safety just about. We haven't seen that the crazy wombo combo that can be pulled out, and I don't think we probably will anymore, but this top turret not looking like it's going to survive too long. A couple more shots from Doublelift will be enough, and LGD needs to be careful here. They don't get caught out, and that's maybe what Acorn's going to happen. Has got Ragnarok available if he needs it, but taking way too much damage in the process. Hello, PAinEvil just going straight in on that one. Flashing in, they might catch up to Svenskeren, but oh, PYL just about consuming in time there. Acorn just trying to keep Hauntzer at bay, but look how low everybody was. Svenskeren does manage to keep alive, but Another objective goes TSM way. That's the turret, and they may well just stick around here. It's risky because LGD can quickly back to the fountain and come back full hit points. TSM very low here. They've got to be careful they don't get caught out like they were in the previous matchup. And now Doublelift just caught. Just the rocket jump away. Now they have to respect it. They're going. TVQ going in. He gets caught out. He's taken down. PWL dropped as well. Acorn has got a lot of damage though, and he can just mash his way through the entire TSM. Are they going to get enough in there? I'm not too sure. Bjergsen will get taken down. Acorn could kill the entire team here. Svenskeren so low, kaSing so low, but look at Hauntzer. He's tanking. He's keeping him at bay, and Acorn is in trouble now. He gets slowed down, and he's going to get dropped. And TSM will get the ace, and they can push on and maybe take victory.
They're going to try to end out here, and they absolutely should. Huge showing of confidence to close out in that last fight, and an absolutely huge overextending moment there for PAinEvil once again, but TSM quick to punish, confident to end here in this game too. It's finally accurate when I say they end this one confidently, and an amazing, impressive 2-0 from this new lineup.
They come out with their first matches, hugs all around, and get a big win over LGD here at IEM San Jose. It was a little bit sloppy from both sides, but it is also a very promising start to a new roster.
I think looking at these guys overall, I'm impressed how they played around Hauntzer, how well Hauntzer played in those games. 5-2 and 4 to end that one out. Absolutely dominating in a couple of those fights. His positioning in the last few engages, focusing more on zoning out. I wasn't a big fan of that, but overall, for a new lineup to function this well in team fights and in shot calling is very impressive.
All right, LGD, more questions from this team that